So go ahead and sit comfortably in your seat, your feet on the floor. You can fold your hands in your lap if that feels most comfortable. Your back fairly straight. Go ahead and use the back of your chair to keep you upright, but you want to be as relaxed but also balanced and attentive and settled as you can be without needing to move too much then. And rather than a bell, we'll begin with 3 deep breaths in and out, in and out, and in and out. Then go ahead and just breathe normally. You don't need to try and stretch your breath out or deepen it. Let your breath come and go as it pleases. But turn your attention on your breath for a moment. And like the light that you usually shine out to watch everything that's going on outside of you, turn that back in towards yourself, with the focus being in a narrow beam on your breath. And if you want to widen that light out your entire body, that spotlight, go ahead and follow your breath, feeling how breath is very much a physical activity. You'll feel your belly rise as you breathe in. You feel the air that's cool entering your nostrils. You feel your lungs expand like a balloon, and when they grow full, you kind of turn the corner, or I think of it like swinging up on a swing and then beginning to fall back downwards. Your breath turns into that out breath after a brief moment, and you follow that out breath, feeling your lungs deflate and feeling your belly fall. There's always a brief pause, and then the next breath comes as your belly rises. You're breathing in and falls as you breathe out. And I was thinking yesterday and today about how this is our first meeting of the new year, and how there's so much we can learn about how to just kind of face our lives simply through sitting quietly and watching our breath. We choose the breath for one reason, because it's always at hand. If you're getting frustrated in a line at the grocery store, or you're upset with someone, or you're excited, you notice your breath begins to change. So you can always tune into your breath, for one thing, to get a sense of how you're feeling, and how you're doing, how you're responding to what's happening. And it's always there. Again, you feel your belly rise when you breathe in and fall as you breathe out. And you can tune into that for just one breath or 3 breaths. And particularly if you've learned to pay attention as we do here, pretty quickly you get into the same state of mind you do at the end of 20 minutes of doing this. Just taking that pause. It also shows us the importance of pausing. There's so much it demonstrates and that we can learn from it. We can learn, first of all, the value of that pause and where we put our attention. So many of us feel we need to keep it focused outwards, that we're selfish if we pay too much attention to ourselves. But we're at least equal to what's going on around us. We're a part of it. So it's always good to turn that light and look at yourself. Look at the most basic activity, which is breathing. It's always possible to add what you're thinking or feeling too, but it's good to be able to just pinpoint your attention on one thing. As you breathe in and to breathe out. If you can, keep focused on that breath, not being kind of pulled away by thoughts, emotions, by the sound of the clock ticking or the children running and yelling outside the door. Keep it focused and attend to your breath. Just being one with that breath. As though in that moment there's nothing else but the belly rising as you breathe in and falling as you breathe out. And that's one of the first things we can learn. So often, people will say to me, I'm terrible at this. I keep thinking, I keep losing track of my breath. And I say, well, that's normal. There are still times if I'm upset about something, I have trouble. Or if I'm just not in the mood, I'll let my mind wander and go into fantasy or worry, memories, thinking about the future. But one of the things we can do, one of the things that is our superpower, is that we can always just return. We're aware that we've lost the thread of the breath, and we just come back to it. Simply turn that attention back on the breath, breathe in and breathe out. Feel our belly rise as we breathe in and fall as we breathe out. And that ability to return and to do it without judging ourselves or berating ourselves, thinking, I'm terrible at this, or some of us, that voice of the critic in our head is more accusatory and says, you don't do this right. You'll never get this. And we can just let that go. We don't need to listen to it. We just come back again then to the breath. Even if that critical voice wants to take us away from it. And if it succeeds, then it's proven that we're no good at this. But we just keep turning back, turning to the breath, breathing in and breathing out. And I think of what a good practice or a good lesson that is this time of year. So many people have those New Year's resolutions, and they last for a week maybe, or 2 weeks, and then they miss a day at the gym, or they pull that donut out and gobble it down. And then it's so easy to think, well, I've not only never going to be able to be good at this, at setting intentions for myself, but I've screwed up, and it's again just proof that I can't stay focused. I'm always going to be a screw up. But instead, we get to begin again, over and over. Not just with the beginning of the year, but with each moment, with each breath. It's always a chance to begin again. And for most of us, our life is kind of filled with all those moments of beginning again. Remembering who we are and what it is we've wanted to do, and who we'd like to be, and how we'd like to be. And we can always take the pause and take a deep breath. I guess there's a reason they used to tell us, if you're angry, to count to 10 or take 3 deep breaths. It returns you back to this moment and lets you decide rather than reacting. Choose what you're going to focus on and who you're going to be. Because course, what we pay attention to is really what our life is composed of. If we only want to look at the negative things, or look at all the ways we don't do what we think we should do, well then we're just going to see our life or ourselves as one bad thing after another, and we're a hopeless case. But no one's a hopeless case. We can always return without joining in with that critical voice inside of us. So often that's a voice we've internalized from teachers growing up or parents growing up. And then we just join in and pile on with all those negative statements and accusations. And we get to return to kind of our basic nature. To think to ourselves that we are basically good people. We're trying our best. And we verify that when we pause, come back to our breath, and come back to who we are and who we want to be. So that little thing of the breath becomes something that we can put into play with all the big challenges, all the big experiences, all the big moments of our life. We can apply what we learn in these tiny moments of not criticizing, of not judging, of returning to the breath, returning to ourselves. And that will expand and grow too. It's interesting that you'd think it would begin that we're critical of everyone around us, and then that filters in and kind of flavors how we are with ourselves. But I think the reverse is just as true. If you find out you can forgive yourself, not feel you're beyond redemption, beyond all hope, well then you can begin to look at everyone else in the same way. So I heard someone say we not only put ourselves in other people's shoes to understand them better, but we can put others in our shoes, which is partly to see ourselves as those other people and to be forgiving, to let go of that judgment. So particularly here, as we begin a new year, I think it's a good thing to keep that feeling that things are always new, that we can always begin again. We can always return. And it doesn't matter if we're 12 years old or 82 years old. We don't have to feel it's hopeless and become discouraged and think, what's the point of any of this? And that's another one of these things that we learn from this simple act of breathing and paying attention to it. The feelings of peace, the feelings of not being tossed away on our waves of fear or anger like a small ship on the ocean. Instead, we can realize how that action brings us those feelings of joy and of calm and of peace. And those may come and go too. But they're always right at hand, just like our breath is always right at hand. And going to our breath is kind of the secret to also making room in that pause for joy, for peace. lose it. That's what it is to be human. We have all those memories, those experiences. As I said, that critical voice that tells us we'll never get this, we're not good people. But we always get to let go of that, return again to seeing that we can keep on doing our best. That's all any of us can do. And when I think of those people that I admire the most or learn from the most, they're not perfect. They admit their mistakes without being too negative or blaming themselves. And they just go back to correcting what they did, whether it means an apology or changing their behavior. And we have the ability to do that, to always come back, always return to the breath, to peace, to joy, and to ourselves. So keep both those things at hand. If you do it in the next week, it will begin to be a habit for you, so that you don't have to wait for 2027 to make new resolutions. You can be forgiving of yourself and say, I've got to get back to the person I want to be, the way I want to be. And use that breath, and use your senses, and use your thoughts to get back there. So, and of course, no one knows what this year is going to be like, but it's starting out with some difficulties here. All the more reason to be able to find that peace. I think I've repeated this story. The Vietnamese monk Thich Nhat Hanh, who certainly kind of birthed this mindfulness meditation in the midst of total chaos in Vietnam, talked about the boats and the boat people, that they'd load these boats up with people that were trying to escape from Vietnam. Oftentimes they'd be overloaded, people would be terrified, and they'd be on the ocean in big waves. And he said what he learned was, if there was one person who remained calm on that boat, everyone else could gain from that. And those were the people that usually made it safely to shore. So we can be forgiving of ourselves, and if we'd like to make a difference in this world, just be that person who can remain calm as things are just chaotic around us, that we can find that peace within us, and others will see that and gain from it. So you can keep coming back to the beginning of the year, to the beginning of each new breath for the next 355 days or 56 days. And you can depend on others. You can come as we do and gain strength from all of us practicing together. So I wish you a happy new year over and over in this coming year, and to continue exploring and pausing and finding this peace. So take 3 deep breaths to just put a parenthesis on the end of this moment, and then open your eyes and turn to begin the next new moment, and the next and the next. So in and out. Happy New Year, and open your eyes.